Anshul, what it do, brother? What it do?
What up, my man? I'm glad to be here with the Bastion of the Banner, the Shamer of Bodies, Bobo.
Dude, I keep that coming. I've always said can of spam, and that's the only one I can ever think of. So
Yeah. What's up? What's up? Who's here in the comments? We got Derpy. Welcome back, Derpy. Glad to have you.
Yeah, man. I read your stuff the other day on Instagram. Like I said, that was a lot of foreshadowing, but man, it was interesting. I like it.
Yeah, Derpy's keeping us on time. Yeah, Derpy, we're trying to plan a good show for you. Sometimes the StreamYard also takes a little bit while to kickstart it after you hit the start button. So, our bad for being a couple minutes late, but we're glad you're here with us. We
It's
got
tough
some stuff
doing
to
that.
talk about.
Yeah, it's tough doing that when when you're running a show like who's the I missed it. It ain't on. My thing ain't on. Never mind. Screw it.
No, we can do it. We can do it. Take two.
Well, I'll throw it in there in a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Just so we'll keep the show rolling. My fault.
Yeah, so like as Bobby was trying to say, welcome to another episode of Who's the Master.
Oh yeah.
Glad to be here with you. Of course, this is now going to be our regularly scheduled time for the most part. Life gets in the way. Sometimes we may have to delay a show here or there, but we're going to try to keep it at Monday and Wednesdays at this time, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, 2 p.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Midwestern time.
Hell yeah.
And of course, if you don't want to remember what the times we're doing these shows, you can always just hit that subscription button, hit that notification bell, and we'll let you know when we're about to drop one of these pods.
And sorry for being late, Derby. I noticed your comment there. We're trying, man.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. So, yeah, great to be here. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got some Golden Globe noms. We've got nominations. We've got some DC news after this crazy weekend of DC that necessitated the emergency pod. But I thought we'd start some stuff off with those Golden Globe nominations. Bobo, did you see the nominations for the Golden Globes?
I did, man. What do you think about them? And first off, you and I have had our opinions on these awards ceremonies, but I say, excuse me, I got something in my throat. Let's start off by just saying what we think about these noms, and some of them that actually we care about. But there were some that I think are deserving. I think there's some that are far too long since they've actually gotten anything, and some that I don't even know of.
Yeah, here's the number one hot sports take opinion on these nominations. I cannot care to watch all of these movies and give you HSOs on every single one of these nominations.
No,
I know the ones I like, and I like the performance I've watched and I like, but I ain't gonna watch The Dutch Girl.
No.
Did that win an Oscar one year?
I don't even know what that is, but that's just not right away. The Dutch Girl is not something that I would ever watch. And well, I say that there's one condition I would watch something called The Dutch Girl, and I think we all know what that is, but I'm not going to really talk about that.
Hey, man, we got to keep this kid show.
It's very much a kid show.
Right? So we got to keep it PC.
Hey, Derpy, real quick says Doctor Strange was nominated for something. We'll try to find it. We're gonna go through them here in just a second. Actually,
hey, that's what I got the Control F for. Doctor Strange. It's not coming up on my list.
Yeah, I didn't see it in there at all. I know Wakanda Forever is nominated for a lot. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just didn't see it. But we can,
You know what? They might put it as Multiverse of Madness. Let me check that.
Yeah, you know what? That's another thing. If you noticed on all the Marvel stuff, they're going with the tagline title of the movie as the main objective to focus on now. I saw a poster for Quantumania the other day, and you barely see Ant-Man and the Wasp. You see Quantumania huge. Ant-Man and the Wasp is just small letters above the top.
Yeah, Derpy, I'm not seeing it either. But hey, if we find it, we'll talk about it, because why would that movie get nominated for anything? I just don't understand. Maybe a Razzie.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, no, look, I enjoyed that movie, but to me, that was the official one that I felt like Marvel's missing something here.
Yeah, I'm being hyperbolic. It wasn't that bad. It felt like, what Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness felt like to me, Bobo? It felt like a one-shot comic.
It very much.
It was like a Doctor Strange annual.
You know how there was the Marvel What If? And then you had DC's Elseworld. Elseworld was much more of a what if this was just a certain scenario, whereas the What If comics and Marvel were very much what if Punisher killed someone, or what if this did. They would focus on a specific, what if Captain Britain got the shield, things like that. But Elseworlds was more like an other reality, and that's what this movie kind of felt like. Like they didn't really. I mean, yeah, they acknowledged WandaVision, but other than that, it felt such a just like thrown into the mix of something.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Going down the list of nominations to kind of get back on subject, I do some of the things that stick out for me. My boys from India are holding it down with RRR getting several nominations, including Best Song, which we know Bollywood movies slap when it comes to the music.
Also,
Uh,
best foreign language film.
Best Foreign Language Film probably shouldn't win that. I don't know. It's weird to me because these are movies that people 15 years ago used to laugh at, and now they're embracing. So, people, when I say people, I mean American audiences. So we still got to get you to watch it, Bobo.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we keep on talking about me trying to start watching some movies like that, and that's even doing a segment on some movies like that. I'm just, I'm actually still having to work a little bit and make some money, so that's just throwing me off. Hadn't done that in a while, but I have to now.
Boo, boo, paying your bills, man. Who
I
needs
know it
all that
sucks. God
noise?
damn it. It definitely sucks. But I'll tell you what, though, in the song department, I would immediately, without even knowing the music from RRR, I would immediately vote for that song over the Lady Gaga song from Top Gun that they're saying is just amazing, which I'm telling you, I'm not dogging on you, Lady Gaga, because I love you. I do love you. I
Mhm.
think you're beautiful. I think you're a badass actress and musician. But that song is just so ordinary.
Damn. So Bobo hates Lady Gaga. Interesting.
No, what all right. I think everybody knows that's not the truth.
Top Gun also got nominated for Best Motion Picture Drama. Listen, I loved watching Top Gun. It was a great experience. I had a lot of people tell me that they thought it was a fantastic Oscar-worthy movie. As much as I love that movie, I did not agree with that take, and I don't know if I agree with it being on the Best Picture nomination list.
For Top Gun?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was really I saw it 3 times in the theater, not because I went to go see it 3 times on my own, but I went to go see it with a different group of people every time that we're going to see it, and I was like, "You know what? I'll go see that again," because it was
Uh-huh.
badass. And every time I truly did enjoy it a little more, and I saw more about it that was actually I got more out of it, like, I was able to dig into it a little deeper. But to me, it was just like a badass, solid, juicy, character-driven action movie.
Agreed.
Kinda like The Rock. You know
Mhm,
what I'm saying? Like,
mhm.
so The Rock, one of the Face Off, one of the greatest action movies ever. Not sure it really belongs in the best picture category,
Bobo,
you
Face
know?
Off is trash, son.
Boo. That's where we're gonna have a versus for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely Shogun Showdown material because Face Off is hot garbage.
Are we doing a Shogun right now? A verse?
Dude, key it up, man. Key it up.
All right. So
All right,
what
you know what? We're going to take turns going on this. Bobo, since you're the defender, since you think Face Off is a cinematic classic, why don't you go ahead and start us off and try to defend this piece of hot garbage?
all right. So first off, this is something that we're going to try to do a lot more, because all the time we will disagree on something in the middle of talking about something else because we veer off on rants. I love John Woo. I love The Killer back in the day. I love Boiling Point back in the day, foreign films. As soon as he came over here, and the first American film I think I saw was Broken Arrow, I knew exactly what I was getting into with John Woo. I knew he was over the top. I knew that he was completely unrealistic. I knew that nobody, excuse me, I knew that nobody jumps and sideways through the air and shoots gun. I know that nobody slings their guns when they do that, but it was very like superheroes with guns, though, like superheroes without powers, but with guns or something. And so when Face Off came out, dude, it was so ridiculous and over the top. But how can you not love Castor Troy, Nicolas Cage? How can you not love John Travolta in that movie? How can you not love the visual side of it, the music? To me, that movie is now, don't get me wrong, it screams 90s, but that's part of what I love about it. Like, I remember being in the theater being like, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen. Obviously, it's not the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it is up there for me as far as action's concerned. And it's fiction, fantasy action at its finest.
All right, man. I'm going to go ahead and talk about a couple of things you said. John Woo is great. You know what John Woo I love? I love Chinese John Woo. I love Chow Yun Fat John Woo. I love hard boiled John Woo.
Hard boiled. Did I say Boiling Point? I meant hard boiled.
Hard boiled. American John Woo, trash, son.
Oh, I just don't.
Mission Impossible 2,
I love it.
trash,
I
son.
love that movie. I love it.
Trash. Americanized, American cheese, John Woo.
Dude, I will.
Just
I
it's
will.
just listen, man. I dare you. I defy you to go watch Hard Boiled and watch Face Off and tell me they're two comparable movies. I defy you to tell me that John Woo in China is the same as John Woo in America. What's the big selling point of this movie? Hey, watch John Travolta act like Nick Cage and watch Nick Cage act like John Travolta.
Oh,
It's garbage.
I
It's
love it.
garbage. It's
I
the whole
love it.
premise is garbage. The only good thing about that movie is that Gina Gershon is fine as hell in that movie,
Oh,
and that's
she
about
is.
it. That's about it. That whole movie is ridiculous. It's stupid. It's campy in none of the good ways. Like we're going to talk about with a certain movie
Look,
that we're
look at
going to
what
quick
Murphy
review.
says. Jimmy Woo. I like how you know him on nickname basis. Jimmy Woo is God. Hell yeah, he is. Look, we're not going to stay on this because I know we got more things to talk about. But I had no idea that you had the hate for that movie as much as you just explained. And one, I want to stress, I view it as an unrealistic movie, but I know that about it. And it's kind of just fun, like the way Aquaman's fun with me. But you hate that too. So maybe.
Hey, I love Gung Fu though. Gung Fu is unrealistic, but the whole, you know what? Just it was a bad role for both those guys. You could have made way better use of their talents than
I
hey,
could eat a
let's
peach for
let's
hours.
make a fake movie about face transplants. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Now, look, it is totally over the top unrealistic. It's. I mean, yes, the fact that they think that people could take someone's skin and put it on someone else's face and they would just look like them.
Yeah,
It's stupid. I get it. It is.
Let's not forget the fact that they got completely different body types,
Bone
heights,
structures.
yeah,
They smell
all
different.
of that.
Yeah. No, I get it. The hair, everything. I get it. To me, it was such a product of the time. It was almost kind of like a canon movie, like when we were watching Cobra.
You know how bad that movie was? John Travolta had just come back with Pulp Fiction.
And Broken Arrow. It was Pulp Fiction, then Broken Arrow. And then he did this.
And his career went to shit again. The next thing you knew, he was doing Battlefield Earth. And then it was over.
That was because of Scientology.
Yeah, this is what drove him to Scientology, though. This movie being so bad is what helped flush his career down the toilet.
A second time.
This movie is a turd, yes. Is a giant turd.
There you go, guys. We do not agree at all on Face Off.
Tell us who won and explain to Baba why it's me in the comments below, please.
Yeah, please do. I want everybody to think always when we do one of those, please let us know who won. So
yeah,
moving forward.
Yeah, some quick hits on the nominations. Let's see if there's anything else worth talking about. And then we'll go ahead and move on. But I got to be honest with you guys. There's a lot of these movies I have not seen that I need to see. And I'm probably not going to see a lot of these movies because let's be honest, Bobo, who still cares about award shows?
I don't. Honestly, it used to be something that was cool to see the stars and everything like that. But that was in a day when the only movies you saw were in theaters or then they came out on DVD and you rented them. That was before streaming. Now there's so many things that people watch. I don't know half these people that are on there. I don't care about all the speeches and platforms and statements that every actor's trying to make at this award ceremony. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a voice in life. I'm talking about, but at this award ceremony, and everybody gets up there and starts making their rants, and I just don't care. I don't care about the awards because they don't mean anything. You know what I mean? Most of the movies I love aren't awards.
This program is not for us. It's for the people in the industry to give each other hand jobs. That's all it's for, right?
I mean, I guess so. That's
what even those statements, like I remember when Joaquin Phoenix won his award and he got up there and acted all hot and bothered about the environment. And once again, that's okay. I'm okay with you having a stance on the environment and a stance on global warming, but it all just seems so rehearsed, and it almost seemed like he was pulling off a role when he got up there and accepted the award and went on his little rant, and it made me roll my eyes. But he's doing it for the people in the audience that are in that industry who he's trying to impress. Well, and that's the whole thing. Is this show is for people that are either elitist types or want to be elitist types, like critics, like most movie critics and papers. It's not for the general public. And it's just a big waste of time for the rest of us.
And they used to have Billy Crystal that would do funny stuff. The host thing used to be cool on the Oscars. And it used to be like, again, you knew all these people. And it's sort of like you had watched their careers for a long time, so it was cool to see all these people every time. But now it just doesn't, like I said, all the stuff that I really love isn't getting awards. So what
Yeah.
am I watching this stuff for anyways?
I mean, there's been so many times where we go back and look at an Oscar nomination. I think you mentioned Hurt Locker. Good movie. I enjoyed it. Powerful movie about the military.
Mhm.
There have been other powerful movies about the
I'm
military.
not saying anything bad about Hurt Locker. I'm just
Mhm.
saying what was overlooked about what I thought should have beaten that movie.
Yeah, yeah. Bobo hates Hurt Locker, but we're not. I mean, there are just some other movies in there that probably should have won that Oscar. Pulp Fiction not winning. The fact that Quentin Tarantino has not won an Oscar for well, he did finally for didn't he for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Well, I think he got that movie may have gotten a few awards and maybe got some, but he actually did get best screenplay for Pulp Fiction, just not best picture.
But it was the best picture that year.
Right, right.
You know,
It was nominated for best picture, but it didn't get it.
when did my favorite movie of all time, Shawshank Redemption, did not win an Oscar? I forgot who it was.
Travesty. It's a travesty that movie didn't win at least best screenplay, best director, something like that.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and look at the list of nominations that year. So bear with me as I pull this up.
No worries.
Best Picture 1995, and the nominees are not listed here. Okay, here we go. We scroll all the way down to 1995, and let's see. Okay, here we go. You had actually no, that's not it. Yeah, that's not it. Why don't you vamp while I look for this?
Well, I was going to say something about the best picture nominees and also the best director nominees. That's going to be tough because if we're looking at, I'm going to switch over to these. I thought I had it pulled up on there, but I'll get it here in a second. But best director, we've got James Cameron for Avatar: Way of the Water, which that movie's not even out yet, but it's already sneaking in because it's coming out this weekend. I just think that he deserves that, especially since he missed it out on Titanic.
Well,
I'm
how
not
do we
on
know?
Titanic, on the first Avatar. Go ahead.
How do we know that we haven't watched the movie?
Well, I think it's been seen by like the Academy or whatever.
Okay, so if he wins, do we have to retroactively give Pocahontas an Oscar since it's the same movie?
We don't need to do another versus for this, but if you're going to say that, then you got to say that about every movie, Pocahontas, because there's a formula that Pocahontas has used that I think that everybody just associates Avatar with. But there was other stuff before that Pocahontas story that used a formula about a person coming in, but everybody wants to focus on this whole white man thing going in. And
so do they all deserve Oscars if James Cameron gets one?
All of those movies?
Yeah.
No.
All right, here's, by the way, I found the best picture. So the reason I got thrown off, Shawshank Redemption, not even nominated. All right, best picture that year, Schindler's List, fantastic movie. But I thought Shawshank Redemption was better. The Fugitive was also a nominee. Shawshank Redemption way better than The Fugitive.
Well, and this is one of the things that I kind of think about when it comes to director, like especially if the movies are in the same director category and the same best picture category. So if you have two of the same movies in best director and in best picture, if one of them gets one, the other should get the other. That's kind of how I feel, because at this point you're obviously asking us to choose. We almost get guilted into Schindler's List because of the content on top of Shawshank, even though Shawshank, the content,
the content of Shawshank's pretty hardcore too. Just to kind of finish off the list of nominees that year: Schindler's List, The Fugitive, In the Name of the Father, The Piano, Remains of the Day. Outside of Schindler's List, which one of those movies resonates as much as Shawshank Redemption does to this day?
I've seen Shawshank more.
Yeah,
I've rewatched it more.
But outside of Schindler's List, do you care about any of those movies anymore? Do we care about The Piano anymore?
No, I never cared about
The Fugitive? Come on,
The Fugitive was awesome. I don't know if it deserved best picture.
It was a remake of a TV show. Come on,
look, it was great. It just wasn't. Again, it falls more like in that The Rock thing where it's like awesome, really well, Top Gun Maverick, really badass emotional action movie, but not best picture, I don't think. But I mean, it's all subjective, man. I mean, a lot of people feel like that there's certain things in the movie making, in the actual tactical side of how we made this damn movie, that deserves getting an award as well. So
Pulp Fiction came out that year, was not nominated. Just FYI.
He says best picture Barbarian. Best pictures Barbarians and best picture? Or are you just saying that you'd like that because that's a horror film?
Yeah. What up, Andrew? Andrew Edwards?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, these awards are not for me. Hey guys, do you want us to do awards at the end of the year? Should we do a brass reel awards? A
That'd be cool.
brassers? A
Yeah,
reelers?
it would just you'd get it'd be a brass reel.
Yeah.
That's the award, and I'll go buy a cheap cardboard, fake cutout, and I'll spray paint it with crappy gold spray paint, and then that'll be the award.
Yeah,
And
let us know below if you guys think we should do year-end awards.
that'd be kind of cool, though. I
Yeah.
think,
Because
but
down with the Oscars. Oscars so white. Remember that. And this channel is not. So,
very much not, as you can see. Look, one thing I wanted to do real quick is say this though is like this is a pretty good. This is a tough best director list because I don't know if you saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, but it was awesome.
I have not. I haven't seen The Fablemans either.
Very good, but Everything Everywhere All at Once, you definitely it's up your it's your style. It was super clever, super fresh feeling. Like wow, we needed a movie like this. You know what
I'll
I'm
have
saying?
to check it out. I'll have to check it out.
And then look, Elvis was amazing, dude. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, Elvis, of course, but no, it was really, really damn good and well done. Baz Luhrmann deserves the nods he's getting for this because of that. And again, The Fablemans, it was really, really awesome. I don't know if I would put it above Baz Luhrmann's Elvis as far as how well that was done, or even Everything All at Once, just because of the originality of it. And I haven't seen Avatar yet, so I don't know.
The Banshees of Inisherin. Have you seen that?
No, and I really want to now that I know it's the same guy who did In Bruges, and it's sort of like along those same lines. Martin McDonagh has done other famous stuff.
Yeah, what is this about? Oh, okay. I've seen this trailer for this. Yeah,
it looks good.
It looks interesting.
Yeah. I bet.
So, which one of these do you think is going to win? It's not going to be Avatar. Just let's get that out of the way. I think it's going to be The Fablemans because Fablemans has costumes, and there's nothing more that these cucks like than costumes.
They love the costume department. However, so does Elvis. Elvis is full of it.
Yeah, but The Fables is more of that period piece costume, and that's what they're all about, right?
I don't know, man. And Elvis, I mean, they go all the way from when he's a child, and they cover every decade all the way up into the 70s.
Now, Elvis is a huge name for this age group that usually vote on these awards as well. So,
and look, did you see Elvis?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, it's again. I think a lot of people are like, oh, sure, another movie. They already did Bohemian Rhapsody. Dude, this one is the best one by far.
Okay, but here's the thing. Elvis is about the music industry. The Fablemans is about the film industry. And like I said, this whole award show is about jacking each other off. I am putting money down. Okay. The Fablemans is going to win.
Okay, so I'm calling Elvis. You're calling Fablemans.
Yeah.
Okay, so watch it be Everything All at Once. But
right.
But I'm calling Elvis. You're calling Fablemans. All right. Let's see with the comments. Maybe we got somebody what they're calling here.
Well, Andrew Edwards seems to say that Barbarian may have been the best film I saw all year.
Andrew says we definitely should give our awards.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. We'll do it, guys. We'll get some awards up as well, and we'll have those. Probably too late to do it for this year, but definitely by next year. Hey, maybe we'll even do a half-year awards and a full-year awards, a quarter awards. We'll do quarterly reports.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we watch movies so much, it doesn't matter. Recently, it's the holidays, so it's a little tougher right now. But no, that's all I'm doing. Which, by the way, I'm gonna binge White Lotus soon. I already did the first season. I mean, when it was actually out, but everybody's saying that this new season is really badass, and I was kind of worried it wasn't going to be. So that one I want to talk about when we end up watching that one. So we might do something on that coming up soon.
Well, speaking of movies, we want to talk about, guys. We were a little bit late on this, but we finally went and saw a movie that people have been asking us to watch, and boy, do we have things to say! Violent Night. Bobo and I saw it over the weekend.
Man, loved it.
Yo, that might be the best picture of the year, honestly.
I'll tell you what, man. It was one of those ones I found myself like doing this when I'm watching the screen, like, you know what I mean? And if you get wrapped up and forget that you're like sitting in the chair, or you're not like worried about eating your popcorn or candy because you're like too focused what's going on, that says something. And that's how I felt in this movie.
Yeah, we will probably do an official review, but let's kind of get to the discussions, and spoiler warning up ahead for those of you that haven't seen it. But I mean, really, what do you expect from this movie? If you're going to be surprised at any of the plot points, this is not Oscar bait. This is a Christmas movie designed for people who want to see some violence in their Christmas movies. And let's be honest, it's all about family turmoil. A lot of these Christmas movies give you the nice sheen phoniness of a family getting together for holidays where it's all warmth and fun and good times. But anybody that has a family knows the holidays are the best and worst of times. You go in there, you excited to see your family, and halfway through, you hate these motherfuckers, and you can't wait to get out of there.
And then if you're like my family, you've got like certain pockets of people that'll finally sneak away to go over here, and they're the ones that stick together and drink. Or for me, I'll sneak out for a little bit and go smoke a little Bloodsky. And then there's people that there's the one or two people that everybody's just like, man, they're just so annoying this year. That everybody's in agreement.
Yeah. Indian pastimes, when we get together, our family, we get together, it's all about bitching at somebody for their life choices.
Sure.
That's all it's about. It's like, you should be doing this with your life, and let's all gang up on them so we can feel better about ourselves. So
then some of this movie resonated with you with the family then, huh?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I was about to say. So it really did. It spoke to me. But honestly, man, David Harbour was fantastic in this movie as Santa. First of all, I want to see... I'm normally a guy that hates prequels. I want to see the Santa Viking prequel.
Oh, dude, this is the best picture I could find of him. I couldn't find the picture with him and Skull Crusher, but as soon as, and again, this is from Black Widow, but dude, when they were showing all those
tats,
the like Celtic, like Viking looking tats all over him, and then the music started getting like that style sound of music, I was like, this is a brilliant idea, and where is this movie?
And I think you and I thought going in based on the previews, it was going to be that Santa was just like Commando. He was just a badass of all badasses. He gets in a situation he doesn't mean to get himself into and is forced to kill his way out of. And he does have this past as a warrior, but he's not a special forces agent. He's not just taking people down. I mean, at the end of the movie, he has his badass moments, but he's not just taking people down left and right. Like it's no problem. Like it's something he does all the time.
No, and also it was very much focusing on the Christmas spirit the entire movie, while giving you all this, gratuitous violence and fun jokes here and there, and that are all adult driven. But you still had this idea of David Harbour or Santa Claus, and he was wanting to give up. Like he was actually talking about, like, I think maybe it's just over with, and you're seeing that he's just not all of himself right now. And I thought the fact that he couldn't, like, even when he's struggling, he wasn't full of badass, is because, quote unquote, he wasn't even believing in himself anymore.
I did. That's interesting you bring that up. I think this movie is a political or a social satire. I think it very much takes aim at the fact that Christmas has become commercialized and is no longer about the spirit of Christmas. And that's what the whole movie's about. And it's wrapped in the sheen of fun and violence, but really, at the end of the day, it's taking a big shot at the capitalist spirit of Christmas as opposed to the actual...
Be good, enjoy your family, appreciate each other. And
right.
Also, what I got out of it, and I'm not talking about anybody specific, but I just have some people that I know, and some people that are in family and stuff, that they're very like anti Christmas, as far as, we're not telling our kids that we're not going to lie to them. We're going to be straight up, and look, I'm cool with whatever you want to do, but now these kids have to go to school and keep their mouths shut in front of all these other kids that their parents are telling them about Santa Claus. And if they're the ones that tell them, they're going to get in trouble, and it's all this extra added pressure. And it's just like, hey, what's the fun? I had really enjoyed the fun of Santa. I'm not dogging on anybody, but I also don't like this idea of teaching kids that Santa's bad. It's like, no, the idea with Santa is to encourage you to be good and to do nice things. And of course, it's gotten out of control with gifts, but this movie dialed that in.
These hipsters are out of control, These hipsters are way out. I'm not going to tell my kids that Santa's... Are you going to ruin their life when they find out Santa's not real? Did that ruin your life?
No. I figured it out on my own, and I was proud of myself.
Let me tell you about my parents' Christmas. My parents came from villages in India. Do you think they knew what Christmas was? But they had heard about this concept called Christmas, and they vaguely knew about it. And so what they would do every year is they would take me Christmas shopping, buy the gift in front of me. Then they would wrap it and give it to me on Christmas morning. But they never say anything about Santa. So they set up a tree, and every morning, Christmas morning, I wake up and look for my gifts from Santa, and they were never there because my parents didn't know better. They didn't know they were supposed to buy gifts and pretend they were from Santa, right? And it sucked. But at the same time, it didn't ruin my life, you know? It's a funny story that I tell people now about my parents not understanding Christmas. You know, that I can make fun of my
I never knew that
parents
story.
for. But like, yeah, it's not it's let your kids figure out Santa isn't real like the rest of us. It's okay. It's like when you figure out wrestling isn't real
Well, for me, I just
or the
love
Tooth Fairy.
that sense of wonder.
Yeah,
Because like now, like it's like I love this. It's like, hey, so you're excited about what Santa might be bringing, and then the parents come up to me. It's like,
yeah.
we don't tell him about. I'm like, oh, well, shit. Now I feel like an idiot. I'm just walking out of the room. You know?
Yeah, it's like I'm almost want to look at him and be like, listen, why are you trying to ruin your kid's childhood just because you had a shitty childhood? You know,
Well, most of this is coming from people that had a great childhood with
like
Santa.
if you like, listen, if your kid has a good childhood, maybe they don't wind up like you, and the world is a better place. Because I can't stand you, and your kids' friends in the future aren't going to be able to stand them if you keep on with all this nonsense. All right, let your
Yeah,
kids be kids, man.
I
Jesus.
agree. Let them be kids, and also don't talk it out with them every time about stuff when they're getting all rowdy and just causing a ruckus.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to put them in line. My parents put me in line, and I have manners and respect for people, for other people's space and time. And I love my parents. I have a great relationship with them. You know what I'm saying? People, no, but just gotta let him. We don't reprimand. Man, I got slapped in the face if I wouldn't shut up growing up. You know.
I got slapped in the face if the weather was bad. So I kind of understand where they're coming from on that, but I understand where you're coming from as well. Because some parents don't know how to control their temper.
Right. If it doesn't need reprimanding, then don't do it. But sometimes the kid's running around breaking everything, get that kid in line.
Yeah, listen, I know you guys didn't come here for life advice. It's just we got off on that tangent. But
I love it though.
end of the day, if you haven't seen Violent Night, go watch it. They mentioned Home Alone
In the movie,
right? And I thought it was poetic because I don't remember the last time I had this much fun watching a Christmas movie outside of Home Alone when I was a kid.
I agree, man. Great. Look, John Leguizamo also we had talked about. There's just one exposition scene that's kind of like we could have just done without that in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt as a whole, this was the first time that I actually bought that. Oh, maybe this guy is in charge, and maybe he is like, a villain. Like I just thought his line delivery was good. It wasn't silly and comic, over the top, overacting like he can do sometimes. So I appreciated that. And I thought everybody else in the movie, with the exception of this guy in the middle with the green jacket, that guy for some reason, I don't know. He just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know why. I don't have any good reason for it. I just thought he was distracting in the movie. I felt like I was seeing him acting.
If I know Bobo, it's because he didn't have the right body type.
Yeah,
David D'Angelo, by the way.
Straight body shaming over here again. I can't help myself. What about the Beverly D'Angelo little?
I thought it was great. It was great to see her back in a Christmas movie.
I thought that was cool too.
Yeah.
But overall, I agree with you. I thought the kills were clever. Not only was it violent and gratifying, but the snow or the star, the electric star in the eye kill, that was hilarious. Awesome. And then also, again, spoiler alert here, but I'm not going to go into in detail on the scene. All I got to say is though, the chimney kill, you know which one I'm talking about. That was so clever, so badass. I had never as soon as I remember thinking and almost saying out loud in the theater, just like, oh, badass, So that just, for me, that stuff is always great. So I recommend this movie highly, not only as a fun, violent take on, this Santa Claus character, but it actually is a Christmas movie.
All right, Baba, what's your top 5 Christmas movies?
Well, Christmas Story is definitely in there. Home Alone 1 and 2. Home Alone 1 and 2 are both great.
2, more the same. 2, I enjoyed 2, but to me, in retrospect, 2 is just 1.
I laugh more at the antics in 2, if that makes sense. Like when they start getting hurt, I think that's funnier in 2, but you're right. The story is the same thing. It's just, in New York now. Yeah. So Christmas Story, Home Alone 1 and 2, I can almost just put those into one package. I mean, I hate to just jump on the train, but it's just a part of me growing up. Christmas Vacation. It is. I actually really, really enjoy Christmas with the Cranks. I think that one's really funny with Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis, where they try to skip Christmas and then it all goes awry.
What about Santa Slays?
I've never seen that or heard of it. Is it a horror film?
Yeah, it's a horror film. I figured you'd be all over. I've never seen either.
Now, okay. I thought you were going true full on actual Christmas movies. Black Christmas, the original and the remake, are awesome. Not the most recent remake, the one that was done by Blumhouse, which was terrible. I'm talking about the 1971 and then the 1974 one, I think, and then the like 2007 or whatever.
What about Die Hard?
I mean, look, this everybody talks about this all the time. Is it a Christmas movie or isn't it a Christmas movie?
Yeah, it is.
I feel like that it's kind of borderline.
They're at a Christmas party.
They are at a Christmas party, but there's no theme behind it of Christmas. There's no moral of it about being like Christmas spirit is behind this whole movie. To me, that is the defining thing of a Christmas movie. Shazam, it's kind of does have that Christmas spirit deal with the family and everything. And then
you can't give Shazam, like Shazam has got a comic book theme.
It's a Christmas movie though. The family and everything with the tree and they're taking in the orphans and this is what we do at Christmas. And like, it's got way more of that theme than Die Hard does.
Dude, hey, Die Hard, he's all about giving people when he's saving their lives from the terrorists.
Okay. So Die Hard 2 is also a Christmas movie,
but it's not set during Christmas time.
Die Hard 2 is.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Then Die Hard 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Miracle on 31st Street
or 34th Street?
31st Street. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, those are good. Those just weren't truly, really a part of my childhood. They just weren't. I didn't watch those as much. I enjoyed Christmas Stories, probably number one.
Yeah, I agree. Christmas Story is my number one as well. There's one that I'm thinking of that I cannot remember for the life of me.
Well, and look, we're going to watch one later on, Office Christmas Party, which is it's kind of worked its way in there. I think. Oh, another one I love is Scrooged with Bill Murray.
Oh yeah, and that's where I was going to go is Christmas Carol, etc.
Right,
but.
And there's 1,000 in renditions of that. Scrooge being one of them.
Yeah, Scrooge is great. Scrooge
is
probably up there.
Spirited yet?
I haven't either.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah. But okay. Maybe we'll do a top 10 Christmas movie list or top 10 holiday movies list. We want to be all inclusive here on Who's the Master, so maybe we'll do holiday movies. You got any good Hanukkah movies or anything of that sort? Throw them our way and we'll watch them.
Yeah, anything that's that's based around the same time of
I'll see if I can find some good Diwali movies.
Yeah, anything like that's cool. There was one that was on Hulu that had like Dan Levy, but it also had Kristen Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
They were a same-sex couple. It was her and her girlfriend. And the whole point was them going to her rich, kind of prude Republican family. And the person that was in that family that was the girlfriend of Kristen Stewart, her family had no idea that she was gay. And so the whole thing is during Christmas and all that. And it's one of those things where it's kind of like the awkwardness of like Meet the Parents a little bit, but also an underlying like, oh man, it's tough for these people having to live this life in a family that doesn't accept them for who they are. And then there's this whole other, but it works. It's not an agenda pushing movie. It really does work. And I can't remember the damn name of it, but I enjoyed that one.
Let us know. Speaking of awkward, James Gunn and Superman. Things are getting awkward here because apparently Superman 3, first of all, Henry Cavill was off Superman, then he was back on. He did a cameo in Black Adam, spoiler alert. And then we had Man of Steel 2 being greenlit.
Black Adam.
Yeah, we had Man of Steel 2 being greenlit. A bunch of people were going crazy. And then all of a sudden James Gunn comes out. And he's in charge of the DCEU, and now reports surface that he canceled Man of Steel 2. I believe that there was a funny tweet I read where somebody, a publication, I believe it was Variety, asked James Gunn if he would comment on the fact that people think he hates Henry Cavill, and he said, "Sure, false." But a bunch of people are throwing that out there because Henry Cavill might not be Man of Steel, and James Gunn's having to make comments and say that Man of Steel as Superman is definitely a priority, but of course he said nothing about Henry Cavill. This is just all, I feel like I'm a schoolgirl gossiping at the lunch table. This is all just weird. Bob, what are your thoughts?
It's like, remember when the whole Far From Home thing, that movie came out, and like 2 months after that movie was released, it was still in theaters. They were like the Disney Sony split news came out, and what people don't really understand, and I even watched interviews with these guys after with like Tom Rothman and Kevin Feige. They're like, our contract was up, and so it got out public word that we were splitting, but it's like we had every intention of starting negotiations to keep this whole thing rolling. Like, we're not idiots,
right?
But it felt like the same type of deal. That was all coming out, and all these people are like, "Oh my god!" It feels the same thing. It's like James Gunn is not an idiot. He's not going to just cancel Superman. I'm not saying that he's dead set with Henry Cavill, but I personally believe that he's sticking with Henry Cavill.
Now,
My gut tells me that.
is it because he's got the correct body type?
Always, yes. I mean, yeah, it's all about body type with Superman and every comic book character.
No. To be real, like you and I talked about this, I could take it or leave Henry Cavill. I mean, I didn't love Man of Steel or Justice League, but I also realized that a lot of that has to do with the material on paper rather than his performance, and so I'm not holding him accountable.
And lots of studio meddling with all of that shit that's
Yeah.
going on.
But then again, if I'm ranking Superman performances, his is definitely below Christopher Reeves.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like the way Cavill looks better as the Man of Steel, but unfortunately, and Henry, I love you and I want you to stay Superman, but unfortunately, when he's Clark Kent, it just looks like Superman in a suit. When Chris Reeves was Clark Kent, it looked like he was Clark Kent. When he was Superman, he looked like he was Superman. I believed it. So that's the one big disadvantage I think for Cavill. I'll be honest about that.
Now, where do you rank Brandon Routh? And did you see his performance as Superman in Crisis on Infinite Earths when he played the
Kingdom Come
Superman? Yeah, quote unquote.
Okay, I thought that for the direction they chose to go with picking up after Superman 2 and using that same character, I thought Brandon Routh was about the best casting you could get to try to make someone be the character that Christopher Reeves was playing. But I also don't think they should have gone that direction with that movie. I don't think they should have done this whole pickup after part 2 and he's gone away and we never knew that he went away, but we find out.
Yeah. His enemy is an island of crystal.
Right. He never fought really one person. I mean, yeah, Lex Luthor would never fought him physically anyways, but all we really saw was him stopping some bullets, saving one or two people, and then stopping this crystal.
That movie was so weird, man. Anthony Edwards has got a comment up if you want to put that up real quick, by the way.
What do you got? Oh, you got a big one. All that seems like a ton of clickbait, nothing definitive, all some of which Wonder Woman news. I saw all these WB is done with Wonder Woman. No, they just didn't want Jenkins' take. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Gal might be tied to Patty Jenkins. I mean, seems like they have a good relationship. But then again, she might also be tied to the paycheck as Wonder Woman. So,
and I bet you, Patty Jenkins would be like, don't leave this deal on that. Like, at least do the third movie and then peace out. You know, like, don't just because I think when you leave just 2 movies like Amazing Spider-Man 2, when they did that, like they should have just finished it somehow instead of just really leaving this cliffhanger.
Yeah. You know, going back to Bryan Singer's Man of Steel. By the way, that project, Bryan Singer, the director, now we know he's a pedophile. Lex Luthor, Kevin Spacey, also a sexual deviant, hardcore.
Yes.
Potentially a pedophile. So that movie's been stained by more than just the fact that it didn't have a good plot. But
man, I love Usual Suspects too. God,
yeah. And then Cal Penn was in it. Cal Penn had this hype role in it. He did nothing in the entire movie. By the way, Cal, don't think that I hadn't heard you talking shit about my brother and his comedy special. But yeah, he was like in that movie. He was completely worthless. I just like the whole movie was full of like people that were just eye candy. Like, and then Lex Luthor. Like, none of Lex Luthor's henchmen had any personality. In the original Donner Cut of Superman, he's got that female secretary or whatever.
Yeah,
what's her name?
Oh, I can't. I know, but I know you're talking.
She was great.
Yeah, she's all goofy and weird and bubbly. Yeah, you had characters and personality in that movie. And while I'm not going to take it away from the fact that yes, he's a weirdo, but Kevin Spacey did do great as Lex Luthor. Like I believed that, but he was the only real. Like it just wasn't enough for the movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I just and Kate Bosworth, sorry, not Lois Lane. I just don't.
I didn't have any problem with Kate Bosworth. I mean,
Lois Lane was strong.
Well, she was strong in the movie. She's just in a weird place. I mean, listen, a lot of people have issues with Superman's kid having asthma, which I don't know. I mean,
he was half human.
Yeah, and the half human side happens to get asthma.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, people just thought it was ridiculous, but There was some good potential in that movie. It just fell flat, you
It
know.
looked good. It did
But I
really look.
thought Brandon Routh, especially considering where he was at in his career when he made that movie, was that like his first feature film?
Oh, I think it was. Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
was very much his first. I think it was not. I think he had maybe gotten like one or two minor roles before that, and then he was just like thrown into this. Because I have the behind the scenes on the Superman Returns, and Bryan Singer is like looking across the universe for his Superman. It's like this. There's this whole documentary you can watch of just him searching for Superman, and finally when he finds Brandon Routh, you can. It was just like that. Yeah, we found this unknown
Well, he
and
wanted to recreate Donner's Superman, and Brandon Routh
yeah.
did a pretty decent job
That's what I'm saying.
of Chris Reeve playing Chris Reeve's Superman. So,
That's what I'm saying. That for the direction they chose, he nailed it. I just wouldn't have gone that direction.
well, I was pretty back and forth on his portrayal when I saw him on Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that was horrible. By the way, it was a
Oh,
CW version. It was
just
terrible.
god awful.
But he looked great in that Superman outfit
Yeah, he did
as
look
a Kingdom
cool.
Come Superman. And he did a good job in that performance. And it made you almost want to wish that he got to play Superman again.
Well, and let's not forget that he's also on he's the Atom on one of the shows too, which coincides with the Crisis on Infinite Earth, which is
his version of Adam is terrible. And once again, not his fault, just crappy writing.
But that's just WB or CW, excuse me.
CW. It's all the same, right?
Yeah, it is the same. But no, I personally think that he will bring Cavill back as Superman. I'm not sure if this is going to happen or not. I do feel like that Black Adam is going to show up in someone else's movie, whether it be this one or whether it be Shazam 3 or whatever it's going to be. I do feel like that he's not gone. I just don't think they're going to give him another solo movie.
No, especially not after this one bombed. By the way, Anthony Edwards, Superman Returns was a shoulder shrug of a movie. I agree. Does it suck? No. Is it good? Nah, not really. I 100% agree with that comment. I think that's the best way to put it. It's mid, as we like to put it in our movie ratings that you haven't really seen come out yet on this channel that you will see. It's very mid movie. So, and that's because the villain, man, you can't have an action piece set movie, a sci-fi movie, a fantasy movie, a superhero movie without a strong villain unless you're Marvel. And then you can get away with it.
No, but even then, are they really getting away with it?
They did in phase 1 and phase 2.
Well, but I mean, even then, Obadiah Stane, take for example, there was meaning to him and Tony. So like, while he wasn't like this massive, awesome comic book villain, it meant something to the story, and that's why it worked. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, did Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor mean all that much to the story of Superman Returns or to Superman? Did that rivalry really matter that much? And here's another thing. Shouldn't there have been a little bit more like Lex, oh, you again? Because he had supposedly dealt with him twice already. And so
well, I think the real problem is when you got a villain that's mortal playing opposite Superman. There's a lot of ways on paper you can make it work. Oh, he's a super genius and he's got a ton of resources, et cetera, et cetera. That's great on paper, but when you want to translate to the screen for audiences to care, the villain, the person playing the villain, the actor has to be super charismatic to make people care. That's what Gene Hackman brought to the table as Lex Luthor.
Yep.
His charisma, his humor, he jumped off the screen. People loved watching him. That made them care about his character. Otherwise, if it's just a super genius who can give Superman problems because he's super rich and eventually becomes a president, etc., whatever. Once again, that's great on paper. That's great when you're reading a story. That's really great when you're reading a comic. But to make an audience in a visual medium care about him, it's not going to cut it unless you get a charismatic performance. Kevin Spacey just tried to play menacing Lex Luthor. Nobody cared,
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I thought that he did a good job and I thought it worked, but he was honestly, I kind of feel like trying to be too Gene Hackman. But you're Kevin Spacey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt like he's trying to be funny with the wig and everything like that, and throw in the dog bones, and I don't know.
I mean, that could be Bryan Singer's direction because Bryan Singer really wanted this to be an ode to Donner. Have you ever watched the Donner cut version of Superman?
Mm-hmm. I haven't. I have that and the whole. Well, I have I have it to where you can watch 1 and 2 as one big deal.
That's the way it should have been. I wish we had gotten to see that. That would still be one of the all-time great superhero stories.
Yeah, especially when it was made, dude. I mean, what an accomplishment. You know what I mean? Like, and dude, such a weekend. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but Richard Lester's version of Superman 2, it just doesn't, it's just so like that's a whole other thing. Why did they even fire him after that first one, even though they had shot it and they redid it? It's like it was such
money.
a
It was
success.
money. They ran out of money. The brothers,
The
I can't remember.
Solomon brothers or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. They ran out of money. That's why they fired him. And then Richard Lester needed script credit, so he rewrote a lot of it to have comedy. And actually, some of that comedy does kind of work in some points, But for the most part, Donner's whole message of the son becomes the father becomes the son works better in that
Works
two-part story.
way better.
Yeah. And you lost a lot of that, especially because for money reasons they cut Marlon Brando out of that entire second movie. So maybe we should do a list of top 5 canon films. Write it down. What do you guys think?
Boy,
you guys want to see that?
I could throw a list at you like crazy, man.
Yeah, but we'll do a video essay as we're planning to do some of those here of top 5 canon films. Let's go ahead and float that out there. Comment below if you want to see us dive into some canon films like Masters of the Universe.
Oh, or Cobra. Or Missing in Action 1 or 2, which I love.
Yeah, maybe for one of them on the Patreon, we can do a watch along. As you see right there on the banner, patreon.com/BrassReel. We get that up and running. Maybe we can do a watch along with you guys. Let us know what you think.
No, Otis is what made Superman Returns so failure. Give me Ned Beatty. Who was Otis?
I think Otis was his henchman.
Oh.
I think his best henchman of all time.
We don't remember it.
Was Ducky, aka what's his face?
John Cryer.
John Cryer in Superman 4.
Yeah, which I think that part 4 was actually the first canon film for Superman franchise.
And the last.
Yeah.
Yo, how would you like to be that actor that played Nuclear Man? He gets this role of a lifetime, he thinks, and they dub over his voice with Gene Hackman's.
Dude, so great. And what and just the shots with him are just, I honestly remember even as a kid being like, why is it this movie as good as because there are some parts of part 3. Don't get me wrong, the Richard Pryor stuff is stupid. But there are moments like when he's fighting himself in the junkyard pit and things like that.
Yeah.
All that's awesome, When he's flying by the tanker and everything, it looked really cool. But I remember being like in part 4, just being like, "What's wrong with this? Like something's dear. Why does this feel like a different Superman movie?" Like I even as a kid, I could feel something different about it. But it's like later in life, I found out, because Cannon was doing it.
Well, I felt that way in part 3. I didn't like the whole as a kid. I didn't like the whole Smallville. Annette O'Toole was a great actress, but at the time I wasn't a fan of Lana, being the movie and Lois being kicked out because we'd watched Lois and Superman together this whole entire time. We saw the kiss that made her forget, etc. We wanted to see.
And she's in it, but barely in it.
Yeah, barely in it. And that was due to contractual reasons, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like when I was a kid, that Superman versus Superman fight scene was awesome. Of course, it does not stand the test of time. I don't know why fight scenes between superheroes look so bad back in the day. They basically grab each other.
Well, it's because
clumsily.
CG, man, CG's come in, and when we can't now, it's just like, oh, now we know what it
Here's a superhero fight from the 80s. Arr!
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger, all that same thing, dude. If you watch like Commando, him and Bennett at the very end, they're just going back and forth, pushing.
Yeah, but they're throwing punches. In superhero movies back then, they just grab each other, wrestle around,
and then throw each other, and you can see them flying on Mars.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we are starting to kind of run out of time. So we had a couple other things we kind of wanted to get to, but they're quick hits. But overall, do you think that James Gunn is going to hang on to Clark or to Henry? What's your gut tell you?
I'm going to say yes. Yeah, but I'm going to say yes because James Gunn is big on Twitter pressure. I think he's a big Twitter guy, and I think Twitter pressure will make him cave. And I honestly don't think he's really decided one way or the other, and so why who cares, right?
Well, and then they say they want to hang on with Gal as well as Wonder Woman. So if it might depend on if she goes with Patty Jenkins, and then they start just, we got to really rearrange. But so I guess we were right in the middle of it, so time will tell.
Yeah, it would be interesting for us to do a list. I know we kind of tried this last time, but really kind of dive in and see who were some other people that could play those roles. That would be
actually really think about it and do some little bit of work and try to find some cool people. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, so some other quick hits as we're on the superhero train. Joker 2 starts production. We've seen some stills. Not really anything of note, but we haven't really dove into Joker 2. You're a little bit more apprehensive than I am about this movie because you hate Lady Gaga, correct?
No, I love Lady Gaga, and you know that. I just don't. I'm not saying it can't be done because who knows? They might tell the story of like it's all in the mind of Joker and Harley is slightly crazy in there. And obviously he's gonna meet her because he's in Arkham. I mean, in fact, this picture was released of
Mhm.
them shaving him in Arkham right there. So I'm sure, she's gonna help him get out, and they're gonna, we all know what happens with Harley and Arthur Fleck, that's who they're using in this, not the Jack Napier Joker. So we all know what happens with Joker and Harley Quinn. I'm just not, and again, maybe it's in their head that they're singing together, or maybe that's a part of their little, like maybe they'll see each other and they'll get locked in each other's eyes, and then and in their own heads, they're constantly in song because they're in love. It could be something like that. I just don't. I would rather see what we saw in part one, but go way more brutal and see the Joker like kill everybody hardcore and have like a dark, dark tone to it. But that's
Well,
probably
let's get to some of these comments real quick. Derpy, I hate that there's Joker 2. A lot of people agree with you on that. A lot of people wanted it to end after the first Joker because it wasn't really made for a sequel.
yeah. I could have
Uh,
just kept it for as one. Honestly, I was fine for that. And they swore up and down that it was only going to be one back when it got released.
he also says save their money for the DCE or the DCU. Well, yeah, they are running low on money, so that's not. That's I was gonna say they have plenty of money, but you know what? In retrospect, you might be right. They might need to save some of that money.
Well, here's the deal. This is their most profitable film.
Yeah, it's true. Also, Anthony Edwards, I'm curious what Gunn will do with the Ferraris like Superman slash Batman slash Wonder Woman, as opposed to playing with the B teamers like Guardians or Suicide Squad. That is a very good point. We have not seen James Gunn take on any A properties. I mean, he did Trauma. He's always done.
Romeo and Juliet, baby.
He's always done off-brand, non-A-list characters. But
Yeah, and that's kind of been his thing. So we haven't actually seen him really. Yes, he's dealt with. I mean, he turned Guardians into A-listers, but before he made that movie, they weren't A-list characters. Now everybody knows who they are. But
exactly.
he took them when they were nobodies.
But I mean, Brian Michael Bendis is a great example for all you who read comic books that you can be a great writer when it comes to off the beaten path characters or characters that aren't as big, such as Daredevil. But when you get on the bigger properties, you just constantly bite the dust and don't do a good job.
Yeah,
Brian Michael Bendis runs on the Avengers, on Superman. Most fans generally hate those runs.
on
Yeah.
Daredevil was great though.
Daredevil, he was great. Powers, he was great.
Yeah, it just is or even Alias,
Yeah.
but it definitely is it's a tall order, man, to get those big characters right.
And
Um,
Anthony Edwards, A-list characters come with a ton of baggage and backlash if you get it wrong. I agree. And here's the thing about Joker, though. Joker is not a comic book movie. It's a movie where basically somebody wanted to do Taxi Driver or what's the talk show movie?
King of Comedy.
King of Comedy. And they were like, okay, hey, can you put Joker in it so we can sell more tickets? Okay, yeah, sure. That's essentially what it feels like to me. And I still loved that movie. With that being said, the whole movie plays on the audience's perception of, is this real? Is any of it real? So for the fact that this is going to be a musical doesn't really bother me too much because once again, I think they're going to give you that question of what's real, what's not. Is any of this even real?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you.
Mhm.
So that might be where the song comes in. That's where the musical might come into play. It's like it's all in their heads because the whole point behind Harley is that she sort of like is cultly convinced by Joker to go crazy. Now, how that happens, whether it's drug induced or whether she loses her mind over with psychedelics involved, however, but she's also slightly crazy and she does fall for the Joker. That's the whole thing with those two
You can
characters.
change it though.
They
Joker.
could.
Let's Derpy's comment. Joker was okay, but not a fan of Lady Gaga. After House of Gucci, that's why she got the role. She did somewhat of a decent job to get her as Harley, and her fan base is probably more toxic than any other artist. Hey, listen, man, Taylor Swift's fan base will have something to say about that. Even the Beehive will have something to say about that. Listen, the story you're telling us about Lady Gaga's or about Harley Quinn and Joker, they can change that. There's no rule. I mean, this is an Elseworld movie, so they can have a completely different origin.
They
She
can,
could be
but
another crazy person.
right. But I mean, why is she going to help him unless there's some sort of infatuation?
It could be one-sided infatuation.
Yeah, it could be. And I mean, and it kind of is between him and her. She's way more into him than he is into her. So that's always
I mean, I think they usually depicted that he does love her in his own strange way.
Yeah, but he's okay. But he's also okay with losing her. Whereas, like, if Joker dies, he's like, "No, Mister J." Whereas,
Yeah, but that changes back and forth depending on the episode of Batman the animated series. You're right. Some episodes he treats her like a pawn in his plan, but other episodes she leaves him and he comes and begs for her to come back. So they've done both with it.
I guess so. I guess those are what stick out in my head.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, overall, I'm expecting to have some quality to it because I do believe in Todd Phillips. And I do like what he did. I like his approach to what he did with Joker. However, I'm worried that it's going to be like The Matrix. It's going to be like, oh, now you're starting to desecrate something awesome because you're adding to it when we didn't really need you to add to it. So, but who knows? Maybe we didn't know we needed this movie. Maybe this movie comes out and we didn't know we needed it. So hopefully that's the case.
Well, speaking of classic or new takes on classic themes or classic stories,
this can send us out.
Yeah, this is our last one of the day. Dune came out just last year, and now Dune 2 has wrapped filming. I know you and I had different takes on the movie. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. I thought it was okay. You weren't as big a fan of it, were you?
I was actually kind of disappointed because I feel like that it was the not the same story, but the actual same movie as the original movie, just updated with effects. But like, I don't feel like that they changed a whole lot or made it any better. In fact, I felt like the action was kind of dull. I don't like some of the logic in it, and I didn't think that the character development was all that great. I thought it was kind of slowly paced. Now look, visually, was it awesome? Of course. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it didn't look great. It did. And I do like Denis Villeneuve. I love Prisoners. I love The Arrival. I mean, I think he's done Blade Runner 2049 was awesome. I think he does a good job with movies. Something just didn't click with me on this last one. I thought it was dull.
I enjoyed it. I was definitely annoyed when it ended, though, because I felt like it was just getting started and then all of a sudden it ended. I was like, really? This is where you're going to end the movie? And that's the thing. Listen, if any of you have read the books or read the wikis on the books, try reading the wikis on the books and see how confusing that is. These are dense world building fictional pieces, right? It's hard to translate. There's so much that goes into these books and goes into the history of these fictional worlds, and
to just wrap that up into one thing. I mean, I was amazed that they did so well with it with Lord of the Rings, but most of the time it's hard to do. Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, they just weren't able to do it well.
Yeah, you would have to do a Netflix series, but then again, Netflix series doesn't come with the same budget, so we'll see, man.
Amazon series could though, because Amazon got that.
Oh, we will have more Zendaya in the movie. Zendaya also nominated for a Golden Globe to kind of bring this whole podcast full circle. So maybe that will be positive because Zendaya kills it whenever she's in something.
Yeah, I don't think that she's been in anything that's bad, and she's just a sweetheart, dude. I mean, she's obviously she's beautiful, but like I love the way she is. I love her behavior every time she's like reacting to things. It's like, I just love that girl. Great in Euphoria, was great as MJ. So yeah, I like her and everything she's in. She was barely in the original Dune or the last Dune, but I do think that we're going to be focusing a lot more on her this go round. And man, some of these pictures that I tried to upload didn't transfer properly. I guess they were WEB files, but we have added some cast members to this new one.
Well, before you get to that, I want to get Andrew Edwards' comments because
I was going to get to it as well, but we'll go ahead and get to it now.
Okay. Zaslav has commented that they are going to set one cohesive storyline for a la the MCU. Do you think that means one-offs like Joker and Batman will run their course, or will they try and fold them in? Andrew, I think that they're still going to do the one-offs as long as there's money. I think they're going to follow the money. So if Joker does well, you can expect some more of those one-offs. But I think their comment generally comes from the fact that they see the MCU making a ton of money with a cohesive storyline. And so right now, that's their main focus.
Yeah.
So will you still have one-offs? Yeah. I think they'll still try to make room for properties like, the Joker that they think they can get away with it, make some money on it until they quit making money on it. But the main focus is going to be on the cohesive storylines.
Yeah. What are you like fixing something over there, man?
Yep, it's the microphone.
Yeah, it's been noisy.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah, it almost fell off my desk.
Yeah, it's for the last like 20 minutes, it's had something going on with it. I was going to tell you at the end of the show, but at that point, it was like starting to dominate.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, but back to Derby's comments. I think that you're right with the cohesive storyline is what they're focusing on. However, I do think that they're gonna. I really do feel like that this Joker franchise and the Batman franchise are going to cross over.
I don't think they will.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. You know what? I mean, the next Batman better be good because I don't see them doing one past that if it's not.
But yeah, I just this one, as much as that they want to try to even act like that this was like, oh man, this blew everybody away. It didn't.
Yeah, agreed.
I haven't talked to I've talked to maybe 3 or 4 people that are like, oh, it's the best Bat, and it's like, no, you don't know Batman then.
Yeah, agreed. You know, a lot of people want to give Robert Pattinson his flowers as being one of the best Batman of all time, and I don't see that. But
no, I don't either. I think he looked good in the suit. He really did. And I think he behaved well in certain moments, but I just didn't like him being around the cops so close all the time. And I didn't like him as Bruce Wayne. There's just a lot about the movie I didn't like.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, man. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Sounded like something shattered.
No, I was just trying to screw the mic back into my mic stand, but it fell off. So
it's just going to be handheld until the show's over?
It is. Yeah.
Well, we're almost done. We're almost done. Well, what I was going to say is that I like the casting they're talking about adding here because I think that these people are all striking looking people. And I feel like in a Dune movie, you kind of have to have striking features. And so right off, Léa Seydoux, who I love her. Mm-hmm. She was in the last 2 Bond movies. She ended up being like Bond's love. And I just think that she's a good addition to this movie. I could just see her fitting into this world. She's striking, you know? Mm-hmm. And then next, another one, Florence Pugh has joined the cast. So she's going to be in there again, striking, beautiful girl. I don't think, she's sort of like Hollywood's new it girl.
Yep.
And rightfully so. She does great in everything she does. I liked her. I mean, I think her and David Harbour were, and so was Scarlett Johansson. The actors in Black Widow weren't the problem. You know, that was
it was just it was a script for the third act. That was
right. Yeah. And then on top of that, we got Austin Butler, who's joined again, striking, and then coming off the coattails of Elvis. So I'm excited about these people that are joining it, and I'm just curious as if they're going to make a different feel to it.
Yeah, I mean, the first movie was always going to be tough. You had to reintroduce people to the world. So now that we've reintroduced people to the world, maybe we can have a lot more time for the story.
Yeah. Hey, so look, that is, I think that we're going to wrap it up here, guys. I think we're having some malfunction going on. So, look, we will tell us where everybody can find us real quick, Anshul, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us at Shogun of Cinema on Twitter and on Instagram. At patreon.com/BrassReel and facebook.com/BrassReel. Give us a follow. And like I said, hit that subscription button and the notification button. You'll be notified when we do these. I think we're thinking now every Monday and Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. And of course, we'll always be willing to jump on when big news hits like we did last Friday with all the DC news.
Hell yeah. And remember, if also real quick, Andrew Edwards wanted to say that Batman was Superman Returnsy. That's good way
to put it. Yeah, exactly.
Just average, just like right, just mid.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, thank y'all. Remember, and sorry we're having to cut it kind of short on this. Like I said, we're just having a couple tech issues. So
hey, life gave me lemons. You know what I did?
He made some hot, fresh popcorns. Hell yeah. Thank you guys. Love you.